morning. I have a lot of errands to do today, so I have to get ready. And this is going to be a bit of a get ready with me and get to know me type of video. Oh, forgot to say, my name is Natalie, and welcome to my channel. Okay, so I gotta put in context first. I don't know, I prefer myself actually with glasses, and I've been wearing glasses since I was in like first grade because, well, your girl's blind. If you know me, these round ones are like a classic. Anyway, I'm gonna be doing my eyebrows. I'll be using the NYX Professional Makeup Lift and Snatch Espresso. I feel like the brown looks better, it looks more natural, and when it's too dark, it's like too dark, at least for me. I like something that's a little bit lighter, but also dark enough that it makes a statement. So I just make little hairs like that. I'm not used to like vlogging, and I'm not used to like taking videos of myself doing stuff because like, first of all, if you know me, I'm not much of an actual talker. Like if you know me, like if we talk and stuff, like I'm pretty talkative. I'm someone who like tries to fill in like the empty spaces. I don't know if anybody else does this, but like I talk more when I feel like I'm overcompensating because I think that I'm super awkward and I think that like I don't have the ability to like entertain people. Being the shy kid and being the kid who grew up not talking, you have to learn how to speak up for yourself and need to learn how to communicate with people. Because like, you know, we're social beings, like we kind of need to be talking to people. And if we don't know what we're missing out on. You meet like your best friend in the whole entire world because you were the one to open up, you know? I grew up in Texas. I kept to myself, and I spent most of my high school trying to just do extracurriculars, keep my head down, just do school, trying to make my family feel proud of me and feel like, you know, I have a future to go to. But I also had an alternative reason, and the alternative reason was because I was trying to get away from home life. So I was always looking forward and always hoping that I could leave. And the only way I can leave into a place that I want to be is by doing well in school, having good opportunities, having a good resume. So like, you know, a good college will take me. Or like I have an opportunity to go somewhere else and have a reason to go somewhere else because my parents were also the type of people who were very protective, but at the same time, not always around. And they weren't always there for me emotionally or mentally in the growth of who I was as a person. And I have a few highlights, you know, from back home, back in Texas, but I keep those people close to my heart. Actually, like, specifically, maybe, like, one or two people. Sorry if you're not one of those people. I've learned that when I left, I really grew into who I was as a person. If you want to learn more about me, like, in general, I got a few awards on this book, actually. It's a memoir that I wrote. It's called Fiction and Nonfiction. If you check out the link in my bio, you'll see like a whole bunch of links in the near the bottom is where you can buy the book or you can read about the book, read a little bit about me as an author. But it's essentially a memoir about my life and how I came to understand who I am as a person and came to overcome certain things such as sexual assault, family problems. This is my life before college, though. College, I think, is a whole new different chapter because it's completely different than who I was in this book. You guys should totally check that out. If you don't want to, you don't got to, but I personally think it's pretty great. I started to understand the fact that like challenging myself to be outside of my comfort zone and be someone that I want to be, like my ideal version of myself, just initiating that ability to be that person was so much more important than I thought. I thought I couldn't change. I thought that I would always be like super antisocial. I thought that like I wouldn't have a lot of friends. I thought, you know, not a lot of people would like who I am. I was worried that when I went to college, it would be the exact same as high school. Like I thought I'd be ignored. I thought that no one would know who I was. I thought that I would have zero friends because initiating and finding friends in the first place when I was little was the most difficult thing. But when I got to college, like I decided that that wasn't who I wanted to be anymore. And I was so worried that I wouldn't make friends that like I jumped into it, like I dove in. To be honest, I feel like it's a good thing because when you go to college, you want to take on the persona that maybe you had never been able to do before. And I think that experimenting in college with like who you want to be and discovering who you are friends with, see what, you know, people you're compatible with is like actually really important. But I was lucky because, you know, my best friend now is my roommate freshman year. I used to have a philosophy that like, you know, people come and go, and then like when people leave your life, it's not something to be sad about, it's just something that always happens. It just means that your paths are going in different directions, and maybe it's just you guys were in the same path at the same time, because it's when you needed each other. Okay, so this is the blush that I use. It's a Fenty Beauty. It's the Matchstick in Beach Bum. I don't know, I got this in a Sephora once because I saw it and it looked really sparkly and it was pretty. But I basically put it on my cheekbones and make it a little wider here, so it still brings like the wideness to my face and like the roundness to my face, but also snatches like this. And then I do a line underneath my nose, over my nose, and on my bridge like this, because I don't contour and I also don't use like face makeup. So I'm trying to create shape, but also maintaining the shape that I have. I never really properly learned how to do face makeup in a way that was compatible with me, or like that I liked, so I just quit and I decided not to do it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but they're my best friend. As recently, I started to realize that like they're a real one, and I actually don't want them to leave. And it takes a certain amount of effort to keep in touch with people, but like it's worth it if there's somebody that, you know, is super important to your life. And it's good to check in on your friends because they are your friends, even if like you don't talk to them as much anymore. Even if, let's say, like you literally moved across the world, you're still technically, you know, friends. Like you don't have to like completely stop talking to them. And I want to believe that like when I pass away, I did everything that I could to make a difference. I did everything I could to make my life worth it, to make myself look back and think, wow, I really did that. To make the effort of thinking that like, you know, I can do anything is something that like I think is a practice that's more important than we think it is. Because it's important to be comfortable, but it's also important to know that like, we're supposed to be ever growing, you know? We're supposed to be living. Like we grow, we reach the sky, we go towards the sun, we go towards our goals. Like we're just trying to grow like plants do. And our colors change throughout the seasons. Maybe, you know, our moods change. Maybe who we are as people change. Maybe the direction of our life changes towards a different direction, towards a different light, but we're ever growing. Like that's one of the biggest components of our lives. And I make an effort to write down the goals and write down the things that I have accomplished to remind myself, you did that. And you should be proud of who you are. You should be confident of who you are. You have shaped who you are as a person. And that is something to be proud of. Anyway, like, for example, I literally have a notes page on my phone of, like, my goals in the future. Like, my goals for school specifically are on one page where, like, I want to graduate, get a master's degree, maybe take a gap year just working, but probably go to get a PhD and work on that for a couple years. And also, like, start a family while I'm in the middle of getting my PhD. It may not turn out exactly the way that you imagine it. It may not turn out exactly the way that you want it to, but knowing and planning for a life that you want is important. Because sometimes that gives people hope. It gives people the feeling that, hey, maybe, you know, as morbid as it sounds, maybe I don't have to die tomorrow. Maybe I will survive past the age of 18. Maybe I will survive past the age of 20. And I'm lucky enough to know that, like, at the time when I was going through stuff like that, which, you know, I am not scared to admit, despite the fact that I titled my book Fictionally Nonfiction, the life I would never admit was nonfiction. I'm not afraid to admit that I did go through that. I did go through the feeling of thinking that this is it. I'm not going to make it out of here. But I did. And the power of I did and I will, just by saying that to ourselves, even if we don't necessarily believe it, is more important than we might think. Also, having, you know, a support system is super important, which I didn't have, but, you know, when I see my friends going through stuff, or if I talk to somebody I know who is going through something like that, I can't emphasize enough how much I believe that they are wonderful. And you are wonderful. And at the end of the day, like, life will get better. Maybe you can't have control over the situation that you're in right now. Maybe you feel a lack of control and you feel scared or feel worried or feel alone. But remind yourself that the thoughts that are in your mind are not always true. And there's always going to be someone out there to tell you that you're wonderful and you're amazing. But yeah, I am obviously not a freshman anymore. I made a lot of friends along the way. When I started out college, I dove in head first, shared my Insta with like this group page full of people who were sharing their Insta who were freshmen so that we can get to know each other. I went to school, like the first day that I went to school, there were so many people who knew me and I was terrified. I had never realized how comfortable I was being hidden under a rock for my whole entire life. And I met maybe a few people, like I actually like hung out with them and stuff and tagged along with them, put on this persona of being super sociable, entertaining, and they really liked me and they were really, really nice to me. And then I met my roommate because, you know, it's the first day of school, gotta meet my roommate. And we got along like okay, but not super, super well. But like they tagged along with me to a whole bunch of stuff because I didn't want to go alone. It's like, you know, besties. Well, I didn't know that yet. I knew that I really liked them pretty early on because like they were super nice to me. It's kind of like weird because like my criteria for making friends is just I want you to be nice to me. Like we don't have to have the same hobbies. We don't have to do anything like that. Because like at the end of the day, like even if we don't have the same hobbies, like we can still talk about it and like you can still share like the things that you're passionate about. We can still talk about all that stuff. And even if we don't have the same morals, we can still talk about it if you are still willing to have like an adult conversation about it and like be able to back up your thoughts and be able to be open to other ideas. We're cool. Ooh. Anyway. Oh, but yeah, we went out and did a whole bunch of stuff with other people, things like that. I was walking around with my roommate and we were heading back to our room because we both got tired. And then this mob of people, they ran after me. Like they were like, oh my God, Natalie, Natalie fam. And then they ran after me because like they knew who I was because of the Instagram, or like I had already talked to them online a little bit. But like the thing is about me is I'm really bad at names. So like when I read a name online, like I don't always associate it with a face. So like I just didn't know who they were. And they were screaming my name and chasing after me. Like you could ask my freshman roommate, like I hid behind them because I was scared. I was terrified. And they like mobbed me before I could get into the elevator. But they were super nice. Like they were super sweet. But like that's not something I'm used to. I was scared. I was terrified. I thought that like I wanted to just crawl back under the rock. But I also knew that like this is something that's interesting because this might actually be a really great start to my college, experience. This is interesting because not everybody can say like before going to school, before going to college, everybody knew who you were. Everybody wanted to be friends with you. Everybody wanted to talk to you. Like I've never experienced that before in my life. Like I literally was ugly until I was a senior in high school. I made a few friends instantly, but I also lost those friends pretty early on. I think sometimes people drift apart or there's drama, or as much as you want to believe that there's no longer going to be high school drama in college, there is. And I lost most of my friends because of some high school drama bullshit. And I'm not going to go into it because that's a privacy thing and that's kind of rude to be talking about other people on the internet when they didn't consent to it, even if I don't mention their names. I wasn't even upset about it. I wasn't angry about it. I didn't say anything to any of these people. Like they all just stopped talking to me. But this is when I instantly knew that my roommate was a real one. Because my roommate instantly, the minute I told them about it, they instantly were like, done, dead. They're dead to me. Like, this is like so sappy for me to say, but I literally love my best friend and love my freshman roommate because I've never before that met somebody who was willing to do or be there for me at the lengths that they were. And even if I lost all of those friends that I had made initially, I was okay because I could still mingle with other people, obviously. And I was friends with so many other people. I was like, hanging out with people, getting coffee with people. But I spent every single day, a majority of the day, with my roommate because that's all I needed. I just needed somebody to be nice to me. I needed somebody to be there for me and believe me and listen to me. Well, not necessarily, they didn't have to believe me, but like listen to me. Like they didn't have to agree with the things that I did. They didn't have to believe the things that I did, just hear me out. And they did. That was my freshman year. And then sophomore year, things got a little bit better. I met the most wonderful people on this planet. They let me bring out like the boy in me. Okay. So here's the thing. I identify as gender fluid and also identify as gray romantic. Now, gender fluid, if you don't know, is somebody who on a spectrum between feeling more masculine, more feminine, and I shift between the two on day-to-day basis or literally moment-to-moment basis. Sometimes I feel more like a dude. Sometimes I feel more like a girly girl who wants to wear bows in her hair. Like I'm a mix of both. And I go by she, they, and he pronouns. Like I go by all of them. I also am gray romantic, which means I'm aromantic, but I sometimes or rarely fall in love. I don't get crushes. I don't have those little flirty feelings of like, oh, I want to get in a relationship with you because I feel like romantically attracted to you. No, I don't do that. I just fall straight in love and I fall deeply. And I also have a very strong platonic relationship with people. They're my homies, you know. And I say were because we don't really hang out anymore. And, you know, like the thing that I was saying before, like people come and go. Like sometimes at the time of your life that you met them, the time that you actually hung out is the time that you needed them. And I think that I did need them. And they are memories that I will treasure for the rest of my life. Because they really made my sophomore year special and they made me feel special. And I hope I made them feel the same way. And I still hang out with them once in a while, but not like as a big group anymore. So I don't really do clubbing like that anymore because guess what? I have a boyfriend. And I don't really find the point in playing the game anymore if I already won. And we have a very healthy relationship in my opinion. And we have our moments, but there's nothing we can't talk through. And I know he's the one and I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. And he has made a huge contribution into my life to make me who I am. I also have another list in my notes app of things that I've done. So for example, I used to do robotics. I also used to do a lot of computer science, like programming, things like that. I was in drumline for a little bit, made lots of friends in there, but also didn't quite fit in. I also was in a band. I did mostly rock music, a little bit of pop rock, alternative rock, things like that. It's a nice mix of a lot of different things because it was a very diverse group. I also wrote a book, which is kind of a big thing. I always usually forget that I'm an author because like I feel like a normal person most of the time. Like I feel like an ant under a rock in a colony of ants. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel important, but I feel proud of myself as an individual. And then I also tried modeling for a little bit, which, you know, worked out, but I also like feel like in the time of my life right now, it's not really something that fits, so I stopped doing that. YouTube is a new thing for me now. But I'd like to do YouTube more because I just got a monitor and I have camera and I like to edit because like I used to do a little bit of graphic design as well. Oh, I also did commission photography too. And I like to edit a lot on my computer, so now that's perfect for, you know, YouTube. I also draw and paint and do all sorts of art things. I used to do nails as well. I used to be a nail tech. I don't really do it as a job anymore. I mostly just do it for fun. You can follow my art Instagram account, which also linked in the bio. I find myself thinking of myself as a super simple person who doesn't really have a lot of interesting things about her, but contrary to my belief, other people may say otherwise. And my boyfriend is really good at reminding me that I'm special, which I'm really thankful for because, you know, I'm currently in the process of maybe writing a new book, but if I'm being honest with you, it's so much harder to write a book that's not about me, not to sound narcissistic. When I'm writing from my own experiences, like, I don't really have to plan. I don't really have to, like, make stuff up. I don't have to write things from, like, a place of imagination. It's more like me storytelling something I actually experience. I'm trying to write some new stuff, and if you guys have some inspo, it'd be great. And I like buy new books to like do research and things like that. Also, if you'd like a video on like my process or like things like that, just let me know like in the comments and maybe I'll do it. I can't make a guarantee though because like I don't know how consistent I'll be with this. Anyway, thank you guys. If you are still here at the end of the video, please hit subscribe, like, and comment if there's anything that you wanted to comment about in the video or things that you would like to see in the future. Please follow the link in my bio if you'd like to get to know a little bit more about me, and I would love to become a friend. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, thank you for watching. Good morning, good night, and goodbye.